Here we are. We've finally done it. We've pulled the computer from this office. Well, ignore him. But we've pulled the main computer from this office, and it is now only a writing and reading room. We have every book that we could ever want. Everything that we'll ever need. Hopefully, we can write and be inspired to do a lot of things. But what's the reason behind all these damn fucking books? Why do you got all these books, D-Rocket, as some people call me? Well, let me tell you about it. I don't know, man. Let me tell you a couple things that a lot of times in life we seem to be drawn to things. We seem to be enveloped by whatever it is that's laid before us. You know, like you're on a journey, you're trying to either like self-discovery, or you're doing research for something, or you're, I don't know, whatever it is where you're out looking for something. You're Nancy Drewin, right? You're searching for things. You wonder sometimes if things come to you because, oh, there's no more thought need be, because you were looking, so you found. But other times you wonder, like, but is there something deeper behind this? Do things come to you in a sort of divine sense? In a sort of way of, we could say, the divine intervention, if you will. And I showed you in a video some time back about this guy, Patrick Harper, and he was talking about, in the case of synchronicities, and how things can come to you, and how things do open themselves to you if you're on the path, if you're searching. And you wonder to yourself if there's a being that's guiding you. It's not necessarily like the God, but what if there's smaller like beings that we can't understand that's guiding you? We could call them angels, guardian angels, we could call them fairies, you can call them fucking whatever the hell you want. But like, what if that's what's happening? We're being towed forward on this path. And a lot of my research has been built around, etherically in a sense, beings of the other worlds. That's been the main driving focus of everything I do, but I don't jump into it. I am searching out these other beings, but I'm not reading books about other beings. I'm letting them present themselves to me along my journey. One of the main cases for that is in my story, in my book, when it comes to how this shit works. You'll see in the fourth video, I believe it is, of the Forgotten series, of when Dove is creating a mind. That the Anaku were made and they were just beings living their lives, and Dove said, you know, are there more to these beings than just to be dogs? And it was tasked to him by his master, in a sense, to create a mind, a vessel, that which the consciousness of the Anaku will be fabricated and placed inside and given to them. And it's something as human beings we have somewhat of an ability to understand, and that is mind and consciousness. And I won't go tell you what happens in the story. You'll just have to watch that video, because that will tell you what happens. That's a plug. The mind, this vessel, is something that moves you. So in some sense, and the way I'm imagining it, a mind is like a vehicle. And inside of that mind is where we put our consciousness, which is like our compass, if you will. It's, in a sense, us, I think, but it's not, it isn't like, and that's fucking you. Like it kind of is, but it's not like, it's not your soul, basically, is what I'm trying to say. It's your mind. Because if I understand it correctly, I would say the mind, the soul, and the body are three separate things. Because what the mind is like the vessel of thought. It is the vehicle that allows you to go, and think about things, or rationalize things, or just do simple tasks when it comes to, I don't know, like if you're threading a fucking needle, you kind of need, like, you know, you need your mind to think about it at least. To work on a car, to fucking write a book. Like, your mind is the vessel that's allowing that to happen. Your soul is kind of involved, but we're not there right now. Now, with the mind being the tool that's allowing you, I think that there's a multitude of consciousness, whether that be human thought forms or thought forms that are created from other beings that jump in your head, and you could have a multitude of them. That's why there's that idea, there's a multitude of people inside of you. Like I was saying, even science is starting to realize that you're not just this one person. You're different every day, because there's a part of you maybe that surfaces in this grand kind of bank of like beings, and sometimes this guy's out more, sometimes that one is. A lot of them are man-made, a lot of them are made by us, but there's a decent amount of them that are thought forms. Remember we talked about like egregores and shit, where it's like here's a thought form: I'm a Republican. That's some concept, that's not fucking you, but you define yourself as it, you live through it, and you act like that's your consciousness. You are a Republican. And everything you do is inside of that little umbrella. Or I am a Catholic, or I am Islamic. Those are just ideas that you live inside. They have an above and they have a below. They have a good and they have a bad. It's a story. It's a place of being. So that's, in some sense, how that works, I think. And the mind being the vessel means it's, think of it like it's the computer and it's the hardware. The software are the thought forms. So it's like the Republican, I got the floppy disk of the Republican thing. I'm going to slide that in and turn it on, and here we go. It's doing everything for me through the filter that is this, and it runs its programs, but it can't run other programs. That's why we try to talk to someone about, let's say you try to talk to like a really staunch Catholic about something that's not Catholic. You try to talk to them about fairies, okay? And they're just like, absolutely not. They're just not budging. Nope. Or you try to talk to a Republican about some democratic beliefs, and they won't budge. It's because you're trying to do commands inside of a program that wasn't designed for that. You have to get them from these programs. So that's all we do. That's why our computers model us in so many fucking ways, because people can do that to themselves. What I've been trying to do, saying all that, is to take myself from some rigid fucking program. Like I'm running fucking Basic White Guy 101. Boop. You know, last update was a year ago, and I'm just gonna run that program. No. I'm trying to run a program that I'm making my own in a sense. Because that's to break from thought form. And in doing that, it's taken me to do a lot of research, to read a lot of things, to eat like either fictitious stories, like a bunch of different types of fantasies and sci-fis. Like, what are they doing? From like this book here, Druidry, the history of Ireland, the history of Britain, the history of Scotland, the history of Wales, talking about World War I, the source records of the entire World War I, books about Freemasonry, the Tower of London, the churches of Scotland, the churches of England. What else do I have? Celtic studies, the ancient stories of the Celts, the fairy tales, the myths, the legends. Stuff about German history, whether that's through the Third Reich or the First Reich or the Second Reich. Histories of the Middle Ages, histories of the Industrial Revolution, history of Catholicism, the Talmud, Bede's history of England. You know, I don't know. There's so many, man. In my little collection of Joseph Campbell's masks, I forgot what it's called, but it's a series about mythology through different eras and areas, like Oriental mythology and Occidental mythology, ancient, you name it. All of these things help me gather some sense of where I want to go. And like I said with the book, I take all of that, and the mind that I'm crafting, like Dove crafted for the Inaku, is my book. It's this place here, this computer. It's like it's got the motherboard there. It's got all these things. It's not quite hooked up right, you know, and I'm still fucking with it. I'm trying to fine tune it. It's like a handmade computer. You know, I finally got a screen and blah, blah, blah. And I'm making all this happen. And then I'm sitting here like creating programs and writing codes and making it run the way I want it to run inside of this book. Once it's complete, I write the story. That's me running the course. That's me running the program. I have all these beliefs. I have all this stuff I've looked up in the past. Okay, let's run the program. Let's see if it is congruent to everything that we've been doing this whole time. If it's not, okay, well, we got to work that out. There's some bugs or something. I don't quite know what that is. Now, that in a sense is the whole purpose of reading, of expanding your mind. Because what other purpose is there to have when it comes to doing anything, you know? But that's the kind of sense that we're doing here. We're trying to utilize this. And I show the library, well, the slow library I'm building in my office, not as a flex, but as an idea of like, look at, like, it costs a lot of money. Because you know how fucking people are nowadays. Everything's got to be $50. And you're like, why? It's an old book that needs to be worked on. Why 50? Well, because $50. And so you got to deal with those fucking people. But sometimes you get lucky and there might be shops where shit's cheaper, and everyone's always trying to make money. So if you don't have a lot of money, it's hard to, buying books apparently, you know, it's still expensive, like it's the year 1700. But in saying that, I collect these things because they have this, again, we're going to keep going with that, the idea of them being like software. It's like a bunch of software sitting back there of different things, whether that be an opinion about history, an actual chronicle of history, someone's work when it comes to a fictional story, or, you know, it's generally, it's always an opinion. I know we always try to say it's fact-based when it comes to like the study of something, but it's always an opinion. I don't think there is such thing as like true facts of anything unless we're talking about God. But the point of it is it expands what we're trying to do here. That's generally, yeah, there's no more to it than that. Like, I find that in doing this journey and taking part in this journey, it has really changed my perception of fucking everything. Everything. Like, I'm mind blown at the amount of fucking shit we've stumbled upon along the way. And the things that we've talked about. And the things that we've explored. Like, we were talking about thought forms and fucking egregores and shit at some point. We were talking about the imagination realm and accessing it and using that in our life and manifesting things that aren't manifested. We were talked about our concept of what religions can be and what they are to us, and we've explored aspects of multitudes of philosophies through this channel. We talked about so much fucking shit, and it's all along the journey. It's you know, I'm not sitting here telling you like, oh, I'm a learned man and you're watching a channel of a scholar. I'm talking like, no, you know what you're watching. You're watching a channel of a guy trying to figure shit out. I'm bumbling around, and it's probably half the reason why it's entertaining, because I'm literally being a fucking idiot. I wouldn't be shocked if people laugh at me, you know? Just because I've never been exposed to anything like this in my life. I didn't grow up learned. I had a hard time even reading, for Christ's sake. Like, it wasn't something I ever did. I was such an unintelligent person. So this whole journey has been the most complex, fucking daunting thing I've ever done. It's not easy. Like, you gotta think, like, you work at your job, and your job's, you know, incredibly physical, and it's tiring, and you're fucking just dead tired after you're done with it, and to spend your off days in an office studying all the time. You know, like, it's incredibly tiring to constantly do this. Like, all I'm ever doing is like studying and studying and studying and working and trying to make things happen, and writing and studying and writing. And that's all I do with my free time. So it's like, it's kind of a daunting task to sit and do this. Like, it would be so much easier if I would have went back to who I was before. And I just come home from work and play video games. And that's all I do. I just play video games all day and pretend like I'm doing something much more important. You're not. And I would tell myself you're not. I could be doing that, but I chose not to. I chose like, no, every fucking time you have available to work on something, you're utilizing it. You're not gonna sit around and watch fucking TV because you don't have enough time here to figure things out. It's so limited. And in doing that, it's expanded the way I fucking see things. It's changed this book. Like, I have other guys helping me create this book because they've fallen into it as well. And I don't know why they have, but they have for their reasons. It's insane to me what this has become, you know? None of it was planned. All of it's just trying to figure a life out and trying to do the best I can, and maybe along the way, maybe I can show some people and it can inspire them to do their own thing, to figure their own stuff out. And I'd be more than happy to help out, because that's what it's all about, man. Anyway, we're gonna call it from here, because we have a video to go edit, and that's gonna take a lot of time. So, until next time.